Okay, welcome to another live optimization. This is a part of the live optimization series where we go through or review and optimize you guys' ad accounts. If you'd like to apply to have your account reviewed, you can definitely let me know. Reach out to me at Guarantee PPC at guaranteeppc.com. Thank you for coming, and thank you for coming back, Alex, Raphael, and we have a new participant this week, Joel. Alex, first of all, your mic is muted. We're going to start with you as we usually do, and then we're going to get into Raphael's update, and then Joel will introduce him this week as well right after that. Can you hear me, Alex?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, just making sure. Okay, Alex, while I pull up your account, can you give any new viewers a 60-second or less rundown of your business and what you're trying to do with it?
Yep. So, hey everyone, we are an e-commerce store selling replacement parts for the Swedish market. So the keywords in Google Ads will be unfortunately in Swedish. We started last winter at about 290 ROAS with the goal of 550, and currently we are sitting at about 380. We have implemented a bunch of strategies, tried different campaigns, campaign options, improvements with the website, and we are seeing a steady growth. Well, kind of steady. The past week or two, we kind of hit the lowest point, pretty much due to the August. Everyone's going on vacations, nobody's searching anything and buying, and currently it is slowly recovering back. So yeah, a bit of fluctuations, but nothing serious.
Yeah, audience, August is usually basically the worst month, particularly for any discretionary purchases outside of December. And December is actually usually better than August. August is the peak vacation month, just as Alex said. And so, what my suggestions always is somebody comes to me in August saying my results are down. What changes should I make? I say, don't make any drastic moves until September 15th because more than likely it'll just come back. And that's just, you got to be able to roll with the punches with your market and market demand. And no matter what you do, you can't force what is not there. So, and you can actually hurt yourself more than help trying to make changes to fix something that's not there as well. You're going to cause learning mode to happen and it just exacerbates the problem. But yeah, I mean, overall, you're at 3.5 ROAS, so it's overall for at least the last 30 days not too bad. We're still overall, it seems like, on the right course here, and glad to hear that it's coming back. And I presume next month you're gonna get a nice big jump in the results again. So anyway, last week you couldn't make it, but can you tell me, since the last time we spoke, what major changes were going on in your account
Yeah.
or business,
So
if you will, as it pertains to the ads?
yep. There are not a lot of changes on the account, pretty much due to this job. Everybody's on vacation. I didn't, well, I watch your videos, so basically what I did is pretty much nothing to the account. What we focused on is taking a bit much longer because I cannot do it myself to improve the landing pages for the kind of big traffic keywords like reserve parts for different makes, models, plus you throw in the category, and in the end you get pretty much, I don't know, 3 million different variations. So right now there are no changes live, but we almost finished adding the best sellers, improving the view tree and navigation to the pages. Just for the reference, I'll just send the link here to check that we're working on this specific landing page type, not that you currently see. Currently, we are suffering thin content on Google Organic, and we also advertise on those keywords. Basically, if we have some kind of a category like brake pads, we programmatically get all the keywords for the vehicle types that we have, plus the category name, pretty much in phrase match, because there's so much vehicle types and not a lot of search traffic overall in Sweden. And we just dump it all there because we have different landing pages with H1 tags. They do work, to be honest. Most of the campaigns, they don't see that much traffic, but the ROAS and conversion rate is pretty good looking at the page itself. And right now, the biggest issue we have with creating such campaigns that target like vehicle make, maybe models, maybe even up to the engine, and plus the category, is that we are losing because of ad rank score. So the biggest guys pretty much take all the traffic, and I'm looking into directly just improving those landing pages to overall improve the account.
Yeah, I mean, the bigger guys, if you're going to be, inefficient, you got to be rich, basically, at the end of the day. So you can, a lot of these, a lot of people look at the big guys in their market and they're like, okay, well, they're doing that, so I should do it. Well, it doesn't mean it's making money because they may just be running it at a loss or don't know it's running at a loss. A lot of people don't have proper tracking to even know that, or the person managing it obfuscates the truth to keep their job. There's all kinds of funny business going on. Ultimately, if you run your ads broadly and let the algorithm take over, even without the right tracking, eventually we'll get somewhat efficient. And that's the course that most people take. If you're going to bootstrap it and expect returns right away, you got to put more work in to help the user at a higher level. And that's really what it takes, if you will. And, like we talked about in the past, you can take two angles with it. One is the account, the other is the website. And so it sounded like you told me that you're working on potentially some stuff in the background for the website, of which is nothing's live yet and there's nothing to look at itself. And then on the account side, perhaps there's some stuff you did you maybe we added some more products to the shopping feed, or can you clarify on those 2 points?
We can definitely. What I wanted to talk about today is actually the PMax page feed only campaign. So what we did with it at the start is to get the products online and start promoting them.
Mm-hmm.
And what strategy we went with is getting the top like 10% of the products that we sold, that we
Mm-hmm.
sell.
Yeah.
And I'd say, to be technically correct, make a bunch of copies of the same top products, just include the vehicle make and model into the title and change the page up slightly. So it will say like, I don't know, such brake caliper for like Volvo V70. And in the end, we got about 5,000 products to start off. So this campaign was basically working in the background, and I think this month it just spent quite a lot without any sales. So maybe we can look into, maybe we should change the strategy a bit. Maybe we need to, for this specific thing, just change the page structure completely.
Yeah, okay. Well, if we look at the products here, so how many did we add overall then? New ones.
We Did not add any new ones. Well, kind of at the start, we are sitting right now at about 6,000 products.
Okay, but the idea was is to have new product pages that would then hone in on certain vehicle types. And so you've done presumably that work on the back end, correct? Or no?
Yeah, you can go into one of the products to see the difference. I did not drastically change the page. No, actually, not this one. This is a custom product that I tried. Maybe like the sixth one.
This one right here?
Yeah. So this product right here is using basically a product that sells a lot, and we just add the vehicle make and model to the title, and plus add this information on the page itself to be more relevant. And people are kind of clicking on them, but there's no, I'd say, clear view why are they clicking and why they are not buying.
Yeah, so we talked about on our previous conversation how all the products below probably even just hurt your conversion rate because people then ultimately don't even know which one to choose. And even though more options can certainly hurt conversion rates, even if they're all the right options, and because people just automatically assume that everybody wants more options and they don't always want more options, or they think they do, but then it just is analysis by paralysis, paralysis by analysis, and then they don't choose anything. So we had talked about just having one item for that particular make, model, and year of vehicle, or make, model of vehicle, and then that's it. And then testing whether that sending people to that one product will work or not itself. And presumably that's what this is, just to clarify, yes?
Yeah, but we don't see the page itself on the screen. I'm not sure if
Oh,
you're
shoot.
referring to the
Okay,
page.
sorry. Yeah, here we go. I
Oh,
meant
yes.
to share the page. So this is what this is then. Plus,
Yeah.
you had made some other changes. You had indicated it wasn't solely about that.
Yeah, so basic product page, just this green bar. If you don't have your vehicle selected, which most people don't if they come from shopping because they never visited us, they needed to like enter their registration number or select the vehicle manually
Yeah,
to check if it works. But
yeah,
right now, the idea is that we show that this product fits your vehicle, kind of that you already selected. You're already looking for the brake caliper for the Volkswagen Multivan T5.
yeah. Okay. Well, overall, the page doesn't look too bad. Like I mentioned, there's quite a bit of distraction you can wipe away. It's actually significantly better than what you started with, even though there's more room to optimize here clearly. And if we go back to the account here again, so the main thing is that you have your product title have all these are the engine types. Is that it, or the trim?
Kind of, yeah, kind of trim model codes. I It is on by default, and I thought first of all try
Mm-hmm.
with them enabled because kind of maybe people are knowledgeable about them and it will help them see that this is the item for them. It will definitely fit. But now looking at it, maybe it's too much like gibberish overall.
I think this actually was a great move actually to do it like this. I think this is your overall formula that's going to work here. Because otherwise you're like what I was saying at the beginning of this conversation, it's going to be you're going to have a broad net that you're throwing out there, and it's going to be damn expensive to get enough data to optimize it versus you take this approach here, you have dedicated pages for different vehicle types, and then you have that in the title of the on the product page and on the title of the product on the product feed, and you should be able to make this work. The problem is though, you're gonna have a ton of products and to do it, but in my mind, that's the only realistic way. Otherwise, when somebody searches and they see this product and they're not going to know if this is for their vehicle, and if they get to the site and it's not obvious, then they're just going to leave, or at high enough rates that it's not going to be profitable, or profitable quickly. So I like the way that you did this. Yes, they're going back to the product page here. You could clean this up more, but you got the general right idea. That said, as to the effectiveness of this so far, obviously we don't really know yet because it's the strategy so new, but I would presume I would throw 500 products up here like this and then just give it some data and some time, and you should see some decent success from this. I would try to get the product page, going back to the notes we talked about before about cleaning up the product page so that the essentials are on there, but that should be a very workable model.
So currently you're suggesting that we should actually shrink the amount of products?
Well, a lot of these products are not products that in which we just showed here, where you have the model number on there of the vehicle. So what I'm saying is you don't have to necessarily, I mean, realistically, I mean, you can decide if the results are good enough to keep the other products where you don't take on this new model or not. But what I'm saying is that it's probably not going to be that effective long term unless you do this new model here, because otherwise you're just going to get too many people browsing the website randomly and they're not going to be targeted enough to make things work this way. And this is the way to get a shopping placement to work right here, the way that you did it here, and then what you just talked about.
Well, currently all of the 6,000, what it is, are using this model. We just took all the products and listed, like, each new product has its own like vehicle make and model in it. But I think because it's so much products and such a low click count on each product, it's just eating the budget and not finding people.
Okay, so that and that's always the give and the take with more products versus less. Presumably, and all of these 6,000s are the top sellers if you look in your past sales history. That's right.
Yep.
Okay, so if you want to get this working better quicker, you could limit the products so more of the spend goes into fewer items. You build up the learning faster with those items. At the same time, if you're not spending your full budget, that doesn't make sense either. So I would just let it ride ultimately and give it some more time. I mean, shopping campaigns a lot of times take a few months to work. So this overall looks 75% of the way there in terms of what you could do with it to get it to work, and you did a decent job with it. Just give it some more time. And then as it works, you can add more products, of course.
Okay. Can you let me know if we change the landing pages for these products? Like, I would say, what improvements can we do? Maybe we add some more flavor texts, like at the above the fold view fitment table, maybe additional reassurance that, like, add a clickable button, will this part fit my car?
Yeah, for one, as I mentioned earlier, I would get rid of all of this navigation bar. It's just a distraction. Um, Probably get rid of most of this and make this more simplified. Then from there, I think what you need to have is a visual representing the car here. So if you had a picture of a vehicle that's of the same trim and you were able to insert that here, that would help the conversion rate, because right when they get to the page, they look at images first, then they read text. And you could communicate 1,000 times faster visually than you can through text. So you may say, well, this should be good enough. Well, for the most part, it will be, but it'd work even better if you had a picture of that vehicle there, especially a picture of the vehicle where you highlighted the part, where there was like a circle around the brake caliber to highlight what this part is in reference to on said vehicle. I don't know if you could pull that off or not, but that would be another one that would improve the results almost for sure. And then for that matter, ultimately, these sites like this anymore, like I was saying before, if you're going to make a e-commerce site work well, you're going to have customer service. I mean, if you think about like a part store in the real world, if they didn't have any customer service people and you just had to go to the store and put your credit card in and you couldn't ask any questions, that'd be a tough business to get to work. In fact, I think if they could do it, they would do it, but they can't, so they're not. So to run an e-commerce site expecting this, unless the person's super smart and knowledgeable in all this, they're not going to put the order through because they're not going to know if it fits their vehicle. And you obviously shown evidence of this via the form that you created, where it's like not sure if this works for your vehicle, and then all the inquiries that you were getting right away. So your biggest friction point is the fact that there's no clear call to action to call you. On most of the e-commerce sites that we deal with and then we manage, there's two crowds of people basically that we work with, versus successful versus non-successful. The successful ones will have a clear call to action on a site like this to get them to call, and they'll have someone knowledgeable on the phone that can walk them through the process of buying the rest of the way. So really what you're doing is you're generating leads, not expecting to somebody to just go through, no questions asked, just buy. Because ultimately, if you're going to do that, you're just going to go to the big e-commerce site in your country because they're more trusted. And why would they not just go through them instead of you, unless they literally do not have the part? Then there's a case that you could be the e-commerce shop that allows the user to do that. So I say all that to say, I'm going to have a big, after I simplify this header, I'm going to have a big phone icon and says, need help, open 24 hours a day, or open, 10 to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday. And I'm going to take orders by phone. I'm going to do offline conversion tracking. I'm going to track the phone calls. All of this data is going to go into power the campaigns as well. And that alone would probably double the ROAS, like immediately, if you could just have somebody talk to the customer instead of expecting them to just automatically assume that this is going to work, because it's too much of a pain in the ass to return products that aren't going to work. And you can't just rely on expert mechanics coming to the site and buying that already know a lot about cars. They're just very going to be skeptical. So out of all the things that I could improve on this page and site in order to make it work right away, those would be the main things. Ultimately, I know they're not easy to do, but at the same time, you got to think about the consumer from their perspective. And if you want some perspective on this, go find some random Joes that know they need a part from their car and sit them down in front of the computer and have them interact with the site and see how they interact with it and see if they're asked questions. Are they getting caught at certain points? Realistically, for the average user, if you don't hold their hand through the process, it's going to be a tall, or you're going to have a really, really well optimized site. So you got two courses of action you can go on sites like this. You can go, I'm going to dump all the money into testing and optimizing the site, or I can dump all the money into a sales process offline. If you expect nobody to talk to you, you're going to have a really, really well tested and optimized site, which you can do that, but it's going to be a long road just to do that alone. And what I usually tell clients is to do the phone sales component while you're making the site better, and eventually make it the goal that the site does all the heavy lifting and you get very little calls because the site's just so damn good. But it's expensive to make a highly converting site, so you kind of do the bridge strategy that I talked about. But yeah, I mean that's the all of the things that I would say in regards to optimize the site the rest of the way for the most part and get all the low hanging fruit.
Yeah, that is a lot of work, to be honest. We will get started on it. I cannot say anything bad
Yeah, I mean
about your suggestions.
your hands are tied on what you can do. I understand you're not the end decision maker that would make the decision on this, but at the same time, the way that I would frame it is, okay, we could not spend money on this, but we're going to spend on ad spend that's not going to convert. So we're spending money either way. So we can, pretend like, this isn't needed, but if we could double our sales, I would just do a drawing basically, or a projection. Here's where sales are going to be with it and without it. Here's the cost with it. Here's the cost without it in terms of implementation cost. And you got to do a cost benefit analysis like this. Otherwise, ownership, management, whatever, aren't going to get behind anything. They're just going to look at it as an unnecessary expense. And then they're going to, you're just going to end up being in the middle, caught in the middle on it. And that's it. So that all said, the final, obviously, strategy you have is to make sure you got the right traffic coming to the site. And if that's targeted enough, highly converting enough, you don't need to do anything and make it profitable. You could do that, but that's not the main lever that you have right now. Your main lever is making the site, generally speaking, convert better. If you gave me this business today and I implemented all that stuff, I could triple the profitability of just the current campaigns. Whereas if you told me I could only move the campaigns and adjust the campaigns, short term, there's not a whole lot I can do. It's not like you've done a bad job with the, at least with this feed only campaign, you pretty much did what you need to do. So you can wait forever for it to collect data and utilize a site that's not optimized fully, or you can optimize the site and the whole process works way faster. So you're going to have to make that decision.
Yep. Yeah, to be honest, I have the decision making. I would say the most difficult part is actually finding someone who speaks the language, can be on the phone, and actually knowledgeable about the vehicles, because it is pretty niche specifics. And if you want to verify if the part fits on the phone, you kind of may spend a lot of time, and you need to entertain the customer. And I'm not sure if everyone's going to be sitting there for 10, 20 minutes, except maybe old
Ultimately,
people.
yeah, and they would do live chat, they would do the phone. Ultimately, this is a tough business to scale without any sales support, and most people are going to wait until they're big to get that. But then you're kind of putting the cart before the horse at the same time as well. So anyway, obviously you know what the opportunity is there. You can do the minimization of the header section, but that's not going to fundamentally change your conversion rates that much. I believe you probably can get maybe a 20-30% increase in conversion rate, maybe by optimizing this header area, and that's about all you're going to get. It's not going to fundamentally change the whole business just doing that. And the rest of it, for the most part, people aren't going to really even look at this down below. They need to know, does the part fit and how much is it? And is it going to work for them? And yes, you could say the model number and all this and that, but if all they have to go on is just a model number here, they're going to say, yes, I know it says that, but how do I really know that this isn't just an auto-generated thing and then I'm going to get the wrong part anyway? That's what's going through the user's mind, because people know that businesses take shortcuts on this type of thing. So the more confirmation you're going to give the user that this is actually true and actually right, this wasn't a mistake, the more
Mhm.
likely they're going to put their order through, which is why the visual reinforces the text, which is why the phone conversation reinforces both of those. And so there's only going to be so much trust, particularly with the brand that they never heard of on top of it. Like they don't know of Rearon on top of that. So you're expecting them to, within a few seconds, trust everything you're saying on the page and then just buy. That is really hard without a trusted brand already. I mean, if you have that, they'll do it. But if you don't, then you got to do more to get them to trust you in a few seconds that this really will work for them, for their car, and they're not going to have to return it. And they're not, even when they do try to return it, are they even going to get their money back? They don't know. Maybe they will, maybe they won't.
I think I get what you're saying. We maybe not even need a technical, like really technical person on the phone. We just need to sell it, because what we do offer as well is like a VIN lookup. We go to the specific websites that have the original schemas on when the vehicle was built with all the original part numbers, because the problem with this industry is it may fit your specific vehicle engine and model, but maybe in the middle of the production, the manufacturer just decided to change some part design to a bit different part because it was inefficient, maybe some issues arose, that type of thing. So we do offer that, but as that is kind of like a post-purchase thing, maybe we can just get away with well, kind of lying a bit, having a salesperson answer the phone and just tell them that the part fits and tell them that we will get an additional VIN verification, something like that.
Yeah, you're reading my mind actually here. So a lot of times in business, you got to work with what you have, and you may not have a product expert that knows everything about every car, and that's a tall order. But if you get this person on the phone and they just tell every single person, yes, it works for your vehicle, which is basically where all the questions that you would get are going to revolve around. I can just tell you because I've been in this business, and you monitor the outcome. If you say that, like if that's like you know, what they say every time, and then you monitor the refund rates, it's probably good enough to just say it works every time. But they need to hear from a real human that that it works every time. And then I would also perhaps tell them, even if it doesn't work, if it doesn't work and you need to return it, we'll give you free return shipping. We'll send you a shipping label so you can return it or something like that, like a feel good thing. I mean, that's a nice to have, but just the mere fact that they could call, talk to somebody, know that if they have a problem, the phone number, the other thing that people to consider is when there's no phone number on the site, like, and it's not clear that they're trying to get to talk to you, they're going to think, well, if I have a try to return this and I have to deal with them through email, and then they decide to take their sweet ass time to get back to me, this is going to be a pain in the ass as well. I want it to be as easy to return it as it is for me to ask a question right now. And I also know this is a real company because they have a phone number here and versus just some guy that has a website, perhaps, that spun this up that I don't even know if there's even anybody behind this besides some guy, out of his basement operating his business. So all of it is, I can just tell you from, you know, from experience, you try to avoid that. You're going to severely hamper any potential you have with your e-commerce site. So I would start with literally no, they could have no mechanic skills. They just got to speak the language, say the part works, and if you need to return it, we're here. They'll buy it. That'll astronomically increase your conversion rate.
That is actually amazing. Never thought about it. You just explained it to me and it just opened my mind up because I was thinking more like how the whole process works. Like we cannot guarantee when we process each order, we go check the original schematics. If the part actually doesn't fit for this specific vehicle, we swap it out, we contact the customer, all that stuff. But that's post purchase. We needed to buy and reassure them. And yeah, pretty much 99%, they ask, does this fit my car? Okay, I got it. We'll definitely get started on that.
Yeah, that's a good point, by the way. You already do all this checking in the background, so it's not like we're screwing anybody here or misrepresenting anything. Yeah, the guy does technically say, jump the gun and say, yeah, it works, so I'll put their order through. Somebody in the background is still checking it out anyway. And if it doesn't work, you can easily call them back later and be like, this doesn't work. I'm going to refund your money. So all your front man does is just build the mental security up in the user's mind so they'll put the damn order through. That's it.
Yep, yep, that is it.
And
Whew.
any high school kid could do you know,
True,
especially
true.
if you comp them and you say every person that you can convince that calls in that puts the order through, you get an extra, you know, $10 or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Like they're gonna really be on it. Anyway, so okay, we're on the same page here. I mean, we could talk more about different stuff later. I have to move on to the other guys. Did you have any last minute questions?
Yep. One more small thing. The ROAS on the campaigns, I've been seeing and catching like duplicate conversions with that stuff. And if you can just check my email regarding the audit that we
Mm-hmm.
talked about, maybe we
Yep.
can get this started because I'm getting super annoyed with it.
Yep,
I cannot find
we're
the issue.
ball is rolling forward on that and get it done as soon as we can. And you're making the right move to get that. That's a bedrock of your whole setup. So
Yep,
check
I'm
that
just
out.
thinking
We'll tell you.
it's screwing a lot with the whole performance as well, not getting the clear picture. But yeah, that's it. I'm not gonna waste any more everyone's time. Thank you, Corey, for having me. See you next week.
Yep. Okay. Thanks for coming back. Okay. Just Joel, just to let you know if you're still there. I don't have a hard cutoff at the top of the hour like I usually do. So if this goes on a little bit longer, squeeze you in. That's fine. But Raphael,
Oh
welcome
yeah,
back.
that's good. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep. Raphael, how's it going?
Hi. Pretty good. We're making some progress here. One quick word to Alex's problem. My product is really explanation heavy too. So I immediately had an idea for his shop, and don't really know why he does not program like a Claude code thing where people can put in their car number. Every car has a number, and they can put in the car number, and it spits out, yeah, this I don't know, this engine part fits your BMW 3 Series built in 2005 perfectly. So just an API that pulls the car data and just verifies that it fits. And that be so reassuring for the customer.
He already kind of has that with the registration number itself.
Yeah.
But, being in the business, I just know like, unless people are extremely finicky, and if it takes any effort at all, you're going to lose conversions. So, to ask somebody to remember what their plate number is or registration number is, forget about it. Like, that's too much friction.
Yeah.
And if you put your vehicle make, model, and year in there, and then it spits out something, I agree. My thing is you're much better off finding the person who already wants that, get them on the page so they don't even have to do that. And then at that point, you just have to get them to call so they're reassured, yes, this isn't a scam. This isn't a misrepresentation. We're really going to send you the part, and then you're good. So, but you are right like, if you didn't have that, that would be good to add.
Yeah, I only say it for myself because even if I order like printer refills, I checked 3 times if Amazon says the right printer name, just because I'm so skeptical. So this would personally help me as well when I decide for a car part.
Even if the site says it works, it's like you're going to be skeptical still. Like, if you don't want to invest in talking to the consumer, well, then they're not going to trust you, basically.
Right.
So anyway, well, Raphael, thank you for the tip. And I know the last time we spoke, Raphael has Organite products and had an issue with, he had a working campaign at one point in time. Then EU regulations had changed, or, was in a situation where he had to tone down the sales language on his website. And so what we did was suggest to him that we take an alternative path there, where we generate leads. And then with those leads, through email copywriting, we can sell and do what we need to do. Because if you say nothing about whether the product works or not, essentially, surprise, surprise, it doesn't sell. And there's not enough people who already sold on the product by the time they get to the site to buy, that we can't make a working model off of most of the internet traffic out there. So where we got with this at a stopping point last time was Raphael was going to grab an English version of the email copy that he's using. But before we do that, did you have any updates for us as to the campaigns, how they're doing since the last time we talked?
Yeah, they improved a little. So they're still on $13 a day, but I'm still getting consistent lead cost of $2.40 per email, and it just runs smoothly. My old email sequence, which I completely updated yesterday, and I sent you an email with the updated versions in English this morning. But before that, with the old email sequence, we lost every single lead after the 3rd mail. So they opened the 1st mail, opening rate dropped on the 2nd one, opening rate dropped on the 3rd one, and then the 4th one didn't even get opened. So that was before. Yeah, that was before I changed the email copy. And now I ran through everything, have not just a scattered email flow of, hey, this is beneficial to you, and this is actually a whole system now that drags people through with cliffhangers and better hooks. So I really hope to see some better results here the next couple of days and actually get the first conversions.
Yeah, I mean, the copywriting funnel is really the whole thing, right? Because if you can get that to work, I mean, you literally could go to all the other Organite informational websites on the internet and just pay them to do a banner ad on those sites, and then just drive and then just take those leads and work them through your funnel. And this will scale like crazy once you got the funnel down.
Exactly.
One cool thing is that also your leads are going up. So Google's doing its job driving more conversions. Once you actually get the funnel drilled in right, you've got a fantastic business basically here. So I know that sounds simpler than it is, but if they're getting to the third email, that's not even that bad. I mean, it would be one thing if they got to the second email only. I think that's what you were saying before. Now they're potentially getting to the third email, and then they're dropping off. So, I mean, we need to get some of them to get to the seventh, like we talked about, to make anything
exactly
work.
I added 2 more emails, so we have 7 in total. And I'm really curious to see after the changes yesterday and actually this morning, we are now collecting data, and by next week we should have had another 20 leads going through the first couple emails of the sequence. And we will be able to compare the behavior, click rate, opening rate, maybe add to cart rate, maybe some orders. That would be perfect.
Okay, so I did not get a chance to get your email copy. I can dig through my email right now on the live here, or if you have something handy that you can send to the chat, or if you want to even open it up your screen. I'd prefer to have it on my end, but
yeah, I can open it. Sure, no problem. We don't even have to go through every email, since some really have long texts and some shorter text, but we can take a look at it.
okay. So are you going to send a link in the private chat, or?
I started sharing. You guys see that?
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing and then let you share your screen here. Okay, there we go.
Perfect. Yeah, so this is the first email. I just took a screenshot and had ChatGPT translate everything. So up here is the subject line. It's after they enter the quiz. It says your quiz result is pretty clear, and then the cliffhanger, one thing that in your answer stands out in particular. Yeah, and then it just goes in.
Wait, I'm going to, instead of waiting for you to read through the whole thing and then give you a summary, I want to comment while we're doing this. So
yeah,
the very first subject line on the very first email, there's a golden rule in copywriting where people should inherently, even if they start in the middle on something, they should kind of get the general gist of what you're trying to do without having to have read it from the beginning. So your subject line of your quiz result is pretty clear. That's too generic. I would start with your Organite health quiz result is clear, or something like that, way more descriptive than your generic. So I know you're trying to like get people kind of thinking a little bit, but at the same time, ultimately you want to do that, but with also them understanding fully what it is that this is about at the same time. So I would right away fix that. I'm pretty sure your click-through rate on your first email is going to go up quite a bit just by doing that one thing. So
just by putting Organite in front of quiz, your Organite quiz result is pretty clear.
Your Organite quiz result is clear. Is what I would do. Now you could do a spin of that. That's just off the cuff, but yeah, just that alone.
Okay, crazy. Yeah, and then it just goes into what the customer is, and then a little warning, obviously a selling point for my product, and then another call to action with product recommendations here on the bottom. And then there's also a cliffhanger that there will be some more info, but this is enough for today's email because they are sent out in a 24-hour cycle. And then next
Okay.
email go. Yeah,
Wait.
Yeah.
So as we go through this, we're gonna have to stop after each email, and we may not be able to go in detail on every single one here. And the most important thing is the first 2 or 3 is that we optimize that and get that. Those are the most important. But what I was gonna say, number one is, there's a little trick of the trade in terms of email marketing. I even do this for our stuff when I send our emails out at our agency, where 70% roughly of users use Gmail now, email users, and of which there's obviously 3 tabs on Gmail. There's primary, and then I think like social or whatever, and then there's like promotions, right? Of course, I know there's promotions. If you use plain text email, you will typically end up in the primary tab, which is where most people are going to check their email.
Yeah.
Whereas otherwise, if there's any kind of images in there, or you're using complex HTML, mainly when there's images, not necessarily HTML will trip it up, you end up in the promotions tab. So, and the open rate is going to be affected so much by ending up in the promotions tab. It usually will offset any particular gains you'll get by having the ability to have images in the email. So what I would suggest to you between now and the next time we meet is to take this and put it into plain text. Not to say you can't use HTML, but
remove that part, and then probably remove this part, and then remove this picture, and then remove this picture. Okay, I see.
And test it, actually. Not just do that exactly per se verbatim, but like literally do it and then email yourself and then see via a fresh email, is it showing up in the primary tab or not? And if it's not, strip it down a bit more. So I like to have images and be in the primary tab. Unfortunately, you just can't. And that's it. So that alone will be a huge improvement as well. But going back to the copy itself, if you don't scroll for a second. Is there an option for us to have shorter copy and then a link that can then point the person to a dedicated page on our site that has the rest of this email? Because one thing that often happens in the email is if it's too long, they'll be like, oh, it's too long, don't have time to read.
Yeah,
and it's too overwhelming. So if you'll see it, if you see my email subscription, I just have like a paragraph, basically, maybe 2. It's highly line spaced, which in copywriting, that's another little technique. If you put a lot of line spacing, like you'll see good copywriters will have a line spacing in between each line so that it doesn't seem mentally heavy for the user. And then less copy, and then there'll be a hyperlink that points people to the full thing, of which gives you the then right to use the images and all that.
Like a link here.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
So then you can use all your images, but you're not going to put your images in your email. And the job of the email is to drive them to that page, if you will. So you want to say just enough to get them to click on that link, because when they're clicking through their email, here's another thing to consider. As you're checking your email, it's like sorting through junk mail. I guess in Europe, I don't know exactly how it is, but it's like junk. You don't have much time to realize whether you're going to read it or not read it. So if there's a huge text, they're just going to be like, okay, it's junk. It just automatically goes in that pile anyway. So you want to say something very inquisitive, good hook, then drive them to the page. And once they're on the page, they're now in a different medium where they're not saying that anymore. You know what I'm saying? So I would say that would be more so my model, not to blame the copy here more so. It's just how you're delivering this and the format in which you're delivering it.
I 100% get that. Even I subscribe to the Alex Hormozy newsletter as well. And if they have a shorter newsletter, I read it through. But if I see, okay, it's too long, then I'm like, okay, I'm not ready to digest a lot of information now. The problem we face here, however, is that I can't say the things on my website that I'm saying in this email. That's why we need to
Okay.
figure out how we're gonna do it.
Okay. So that last part's obviously optional. I think you can make it work without doing that last part where you drive them off, but I would still add more line spacing so
Yeah.
that it doesn't look like such a big read.
Yeah.
That would be number one. And then as far as the content itself, okay, so there's technically good information here, but what you want to do is make this written as if you were just talking to a friend. Imagine your friend sent you an email about Organite. It'd be more informal because you want them to connect. What you're trying to do with this email copy is you're the owner of the company. You want to build a relationship through the email with the person on the other side. So instead of saying, I see you took my quiz. I spent a lot of time on this quiz, and I was surprised by the result that you got. Actually, the result that you got had said, that, you'd be good for this type of product. I agree. This type of thing. I know that's a little bit misleading, but at the same time, it doesn't look like a pitch anymore. Or, a sales pitch or just some corporate garbage, basically, because people don't trust corporations. They trust individuals. And then you can get your personality into it, of which then because here's the disconnect, right? They have to trust you to buy from you. And that's what you're trying to do through those emails. So if you never get there, they're never going to buy. So you're trying to just get them to trust you. And then once they trust you, they're going to buy. So how do you get them to be familiar with you? And if you write in corporate speak, you're never going to get that. So I would try to say similar things, but do it in a way that seems more informal without seeming unprofessional at the same time.
Right. So what I'm hearing is removing all HTML or fancy images and stuff. Try to shorten the copy, but also giving it more space in order to be easier to digest, and then change the wording to a more informal, personal direction.
Yeah, that. And then finally, I don't know if you could put this in front of some test subjects, but it's just I learned the hard way too. The way that I talk about pay-per-click, most people, if I start talking like I would talk to you about this stuff, their eyes are just going to glaze over right away.
Yeah.
Even though that's what they want to what they need to hear, sorry. If it's too technical, they're just going to be like, oh, you're going to overwhelm them. So even though they need this information, what I would say is try to reserve the technical speak till a little bit later on and they're more invested, whereas particularly early on, you want to keep it super simple. So your quiz says that you have this problem. That's great because our products fix this problem, and we're the best ones actually that have done that. But I'd like you to know more about our product and this problem before you do anything. And that almost feels like, hey, you're a friend looking out for me here.
Right.
Anyway, I know it's a little harder to do than I explained it, but this is how you do good email copy from what I've experienced. It's almost similar to how you do a YouTube channel. You're not going to just read off a script. You're building, it's parasocial relationships that get revenue per visitor. So you're trying to build the same thing going on here.
Yeah, that's interesting. When you gave the keyword informal speech, I already had 20 ideas what to change with this email copy in order to make it more personal. For example, addressing the symptoms that a protection type person has, instead of just saying, hey, you need this and this. So building a connection is so important, and I completely overlooked it here with the formal corporate speech in this email.
And some people, funny enough, they'll actually write their email with typos in it, misspellings, the spacing. And I've even had people that comment about that, like, dude, there's you've got all these weird line spacings. Yes, I do know. Because if you get an email like that and it doesn't look like it's clearly from a company, you're going to read it, because nobody
Right.
wants to read crap from a company, a faceless company, because they know the end result is they're trying to get their money.
Right.
You want to read from a friend email. So look
Right.
more like a friend, less like a company. Not to say you should do that, misspelling all that, but I'm just saying, like, this is a real copywriting technique. It's almost like, too, if you look at the Nigerian scammers, what they do, they also put misspellings in there.
Yeah.
People think it's to filter out the smart people. That's not the real reason. The real reason is it looks like it's coming from a real person when there's misspellings in it.
Yeah, I think the problem is that I try too much to craft a good email here instead of crafting a good product for the customer, because even the first email is some sort of product which the customer gets for free here, and it's completely not addressing it in the right way. This type of email might even work for the highly interested people, but in order to get a decent conversion rate and purchasing signals, I think your approach is 100% right.
Your goal, to sum all this up to, on the first email is to just have introduce yourself to them.
Right.
That not to sell a product even. And you could have a tidbit of information here or there, but what you want to establish is you're the authority and you're going to be giving and delivering them a lot of value moving forward.
Right.
You're going to want to pay attention to my stuff because I understand you. You've taken my quiz, so I understand you, and I'm going to be here to help you. Then you're like, oh, wow. And the next email you're going to watch, you're going to read it because you trust you personally now.
Yeah.
So that's going to have to, give you a decent amount of work here to restructure, but that's going to fundamentally change everything, just the what I gave you already. So if you work on that, that's going to be plenty.
I actually did got an email copywriting cheat sheet, which I purchased like 5 years ago, and it was exactly talking about this personal email style, and I just completely forgot about that by being so focused on writing a good informational piece instead of actually an email that people care about.
There you go.
Excellent. Yeah, I think that sums it up perfectly.
Well, the good news is the traffic part is pretty much figured out. Now you just got to get this done right, and you cracked it. And for that matter, I mean, no offense or anything, but if I took your thing and I wrote all the copy, I mean, it would take me a while to write it. And, good copy, you have to rewrite it and rewrite it and rewrite it. And
learn German first and then write again.
Finally. But I could make this work. I know I could. So it's just a matter of whether or not you're going to go through the trenches of hell here to get to the other side. But
I'll freaking go through the trenches. Yes, sir. Perfect.
Okay.
Corey, thank you so much for the advice again, and I'm going to be looking forward for next week.
Okay. All right. Talk to you then.
Perfect. Bye-bye.
Okay, Joel. Joel, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Welcome, Joel.
Hi.
So, first of all, thank you for coming. And
yeah, definitely.
What we're going to do, like we usually do on these live streams, is we're going to start out by having you introduce yourself, ideally in 60 seconds or less, what type of business you have and what your goals are as a business owner. Can you start there?
Yeah, my name is Joel here out of San Diego. So I'm a licensed contractor with Tree Service. My goal is to get more conversions with the leads on search ads, and possibly I've done a video, a VSL yesterday, and started to do demand gen, I believe it was a campaign. So just more leads here in the local market in San Diego, doing tree services.
Okay. With that, I'm trying to pull up your ad account here. I found it. So let's look at what you got here.
Okay.
I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So first things first, do you have tracking set up on your account?
Yeah, I had some guys I paid for Fiverr to do it. it showed it was working before, but I checked it out today and it said it might have some issue with it. I don't know if that's because Google hasn't detected any people filling out the lead forms, which I don't think I had one conversion
That's
yet.
usually what it is.
Yeah, I don't have one conversion yet from the form. I did change my offer up on the landing page, lovebranchpros.com, a day and a half ago. And I think I've been running this for the last couple weeks or 3 weeks, the search ads.
Sure. Okay. So tree service, some people fill out the form. I know because I've been in this business before several times actually, and a lot of them are going to call. I can tell you from experience that you got to have dynamic phone number insertion on your website in order to do the proper call tracking to make the campaigns work properly. And I just wanted to confirm, is this click on phone number tracking or is this actual real phone number tracking with dynamic number insertion? Do you know?
No, I had some guys do it from Fiverr, so I don't know exactly what they've done. So all these I created the demand gen this morning, but everything else, the search ads, is what somebody else has done.
Okay, so not to say Fiverr guys can't get it done. It's all, with Fiverr, it's always hit or miss. Like there's good people and bad people.
Yep.
It's not all bad, but what you're going to need is an actual call tracking. Now, Google has its own through Google Voice that's technically free, but it's more harder to set up and harder to manage. So even though it's free, it's not as user-friendly by any means.
Right.
So you could look into that if you wanted to, but I highly suggest if anybody's going to advertise, you use CallRail, get the call tracking set up correctly, of which they can actually walk you through. If you just call their customer support, they'll tell you exactly how to set it up. Yes, it's $50 a month, but same time, you get the correct data. And if you don't have the correct data and it's all driven off of machine learning systems, you're never going to get progress. Whereas the right data goes in, it'll just keep getting more and more profitable. So I would do that. I mean, obviously make sure your form tracking is working, and all that has to be done before you really can expect a whole lot. So if you can do this, and if you're skeptical whether the the form tracking works, then I would perhaps maybe even click my own ad and fill out the form and just give it a test if you can find your ad.
Right.
It would be one of the things that I would try to do instead of just waiting around for it, perhaps. But anyway, so you said that you launched sales video here.
Yeah, that one there.
Okay, using my technique that I talk about on the channel, presumably. Or a variation
I think I was trying to find one of yours talking about demand gen this morning, but I just wanted to have something up to try to get some type of data and start it.
Okay. Let's see here. If you guys can hear this.
Amazon gift card if we don't $100 Amazon gift card if we don't beat your competitor's price. My name is Joel. We're here in beautiful San Diego. I'm the owner of Love Branch. We do tree services, tree pruning, tree trimming, transplanting, and more. Also, if you don't like our tree services, we're going to do it for free. We take 100% the risk. That's how guaranteed our price is, and that's how guaranteed we are about our services. We have 200 plus 5-star reviews here in San Diego. We've done over 2,000 properties. Click the link below to check us out right now. Bye.
I'm going to try this one more time.
$100 Amazon gift card.
Is it not playing back?
Price. My name.
It is. Oh, shoot. I didn't have the tab shared. Apologize, you guys. Okay, let's play this. I had to watch it again anyway, just to know what's going on. Here we go, guys.
$100 Amazon gift card if we don't beat your competitor's price. My name is Joel. We're here in beautiful San Diego. I'm the owner of Love Branch. We do tree services, tree removal, pruning, tree trimming, transplanting, and more. Also, if you don't like our tree services, we're going to do it for free. We take 100% the risk. That's how guaranteed our price is, and that's how guaranteed we are about our services. We have 200 plus 5-star reviews here in San Diego. We've done over 2,000 properties. Click the link below to check us out right now. Bye.
Okay. So hang on. Let me get back to where I was here again. All right, so not bad. The main comment I had about it was during a couple parts of the video, you took the audio from like the work that you were doing, and then it was overlaid on top of your script, your voice,
Right.
and
Yeah, a couple parts in there.
I don't know if that was the best way to do things. It makes it interesting, and if you're playing it while you're not watching the video actively, like you're doing something else, it's going to get your attention. But at the same time, I don't know if that takes away from the whole your communication that you're trying to get across to the user. So
So in that part, the mic was going out, so I was like, let me just put something in the background.
improvise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the mic I couldn't charge it on the site. That was yesterday, so I was like, man, let me just try something to get something started.
Okay, got it. Makes sense now. Alrighty. Well, no impressions so far. I wonder why. So you just launched this today, you said?
Yeah, about an hour ago.
Oh,
About
okay.
2
No
hours ago.
wonder. Okay, so how did you target this?
I use they said something about their targeting on Google, the optimized targeting, and then I used the neighborhoods that have more likely to spend money, so the higher income areas.
Okay.
I use all the zip codes in that area.
Okay, sure. For that matter, I personally wouldn't take that approach because Google is gonna end up deciding where most of your budget goes, and you're not gonna like it.
Yeah.
That's actually a good feature to use once you've already kind of hit a plateau with your starting results and you can't scale it anymore.
Right.
So at the beginning, if you want to be real tight and therefore get profitable as quick as possible, which I presume you care about here,
Right.
because you got not piles of money to burn here first,
Right.
then you want to target people who are already in market for the product. So this is a
Uh-huh.
great type of pitch for me. I know you watch our channel. This type of pitch, I use it all the time, but I use it in a specific situation, which is somebody's already searched for tree services or they've been to one of my direct competitors' websites. And if they
Right.
haven't done one of those two things, I'm not having the ad show up for them, but at least at the beginning.
Right.
So what I would suggest you do is reset up your targeting to do that. Or at the very least, if you don't believe me, set up a new ad group and do what I'm saying. And in fact, I always separate out the audience that targets people that have recently searched for tree services on Google. I'll have one ad group just for that. And then one where if they got to my competitor's site, I'll have an ad group just for that. So just do it on the side basically, but you can do that really easily with custom intent audiences. And all you got to do for that is, let me just show you real quick.
Okay. I'm just taking notes. I'm not scrolling.
Sure. Okay. So if you go into the audience manager in Google Ads, right? And then you go under custom segments, you can click this blue plus button. You can, again, you should create one for previous searchers and then one for competitors. And you should name it kind of basically the same so you keep track of what's what.
Right.
I'll usually call the one that targets actual searchers like buying searches.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then I'll do this one. And then I'll just type in all the keywords. So tree services, tree companies, tree services near me, all this type of stuff.
Okay.
But if it isn't like a real clear that the person searched for is actually looking to hire somebody, I'm not going to target it because you can always expand later to do the fringe terms where it's like maybe they want information, maybe they want to hire, who knows? You can always do that later. This one is, not as good. So I go with this one. And then for the one in which you target your competitors, you create a different one just for that again, but you go to this and then you type in the website URL of your competitors.
Would that
And you
just be in like all San Diego or just the areas I want to reach?
just the areas you'd want to reach ideally.
Okay.
So in effect, this gets you all the people that you would want. That is the people that are in your exact area with the exact income that are contemplating hiring somebody doing exactly what you do.
Right.
And then your video ad shows up for the right person at the right time, and that's it. So if you do that, that will give your chance a campaign a chance of actually working for the most part right away. Not to say the fit, once you've gotten that kind of is the easy part. The hard part is having an effective video ad. So
Right.
I don't know if that is good enough the way that you got it now to work or not work. One
Yeah.
thing you'll know on the front end, if it's going to work, if it has a chance of working, is your click-through rate will be fairly high.
Got you.
So if you can get this click-through rate above 1%, you probably got something, but at the same time, it'll still likely take some time to get it spooled up. So
Yeah.
30 days to 90 days of running it with a low budget to give the, with the tracking set up right. In addition, it'll eventually, it'll realize what you needed to do and then who it should show up for, and then it'll start producing leads regularly. So
is click through rate 1.0% higher or higher?
yeah. And if you don't, you could keep running it if you'd like, but from what my past experience has been, if you don't have a good video that gets above 1% click-through rate, you're going to struggle to make it work, because otherwise your cost per click goes up.
Right.
And you want to pay a couple bucks a click. On top of that, because there is a lot of bot traffic even on YouTube, I suggest you use our click fraud monitoring / mitigation solution on top of it, of which, if right now it's still free. We're just giving it away for free. Soon that's not going to be the case, but you use that with the tracking to clean up and get rid of all the bot traffic, and then of the real traffic that's left, then also find out which portion of that is still going to work, and then you drill it down to where the results are ultimately. So you can go to fraudbouncer.com and sign up for an account, and I don't have all the documentation on it. It takes 5 minutes to set up, but I encourage you to email me first, and I'll just send you the onboarding video, even though you might be able to figure it out anyway. But get that set up with your tracking, upgrade the targeting, and then see if you got the front end metrics right on the click-through rate. If you do, just let it ride. I would still potentially make another video where the sound isn't muffled when you get time, just because that's probably a good idea if you're going to spend money on this. But that's pretty much everything I could tell you about that, and it likely will work.
Okay, what do you think about the offer and the landing page that I have, Love Branch Pros? And then if you can go over the search ads I have. I don't know if you had time to look in that for a few minutes.
Yeah, I'll look at it quick. So right now, all you have is it going to the homepage. So is that?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I was calling a landing page.
Okay. Okay, so your logo is blurry. I would try to fix that. The first thing people look at when they get to your website is the logo, and I know that's hard to fix sometimes, but if it's blurry or it doesn't look right, then right away they have a judgment against you as to who you are, what you are. So it's pretty easy to fix. Other than that, I think this will work for the YouTube or the demand gen campaign just fine. As to the search campaign, let me think about it a bit more. Why can't? Okay, and then your search campaign here. Shoot. So this has triggered 1 calls from ad. Do you think that you actually got a real call from that or not?
It was a lady a day or two ago, she said, I don't know. When I called back, I missed the call. She hung up early, and I called back, and she said she didn't know why she called and didn't know who I was.
Okay.
The
Perhaps
reason
not.
why I kept it running, because with no conversions and the high cost per click, is because like one of your videos was saying, that's how I got introduced to you. Behalf of, I think it was searching on YouTube about the cost per click and things like that, and the video that came up was the local I was searching local service ads and local services on Google, and it was your information talking about 10% PPC, 40% LSA, 40% Google My Business profile.
Yeah.
And I've been noticing that, so I'm like, wow, that was correct. So I was like,
at least until you really get it going on the PPC side, really good.
That's what that's what I'm here for too as well, because I'm like, man, it has to be something that I can do to change these outcomes, even though I'm still getting leads on the back end of GMB and local service ads has increased since I've been doing PPC.
Yeah, that it's easier to get the other stuff going with less skill, which is why I usually tell people to set that up first, and then once you want to go faster, then you do the PPC, knowing it's not as easy and going to get started as quick.
Yep.
But you can scale it up. So
Right.
anyway, that said, one thing that you got going on in your search terms report that shows what people are typing in before clicking on the ads is you got some competitors there, and that's absolutely a waste of money. So you can either add more negative keywords, or you can restrict this to just exact match keywords. My suggestion for this nowadays is going to be to start with exact match only, and just that alone, and then also on top of that, make sure your competitors are negated out.
Okay. And that's what you're looking at now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Liberty Tree Service, Top Notch Tree Service, like, so every one of those is just wasted money, right? And not only is that, but they clip you for just the same amount of money as the good ones. So $20 here, $30 here, it's just all waste. And if you're not doing commercial, you want to get rid of stuff like that. But the exact match, plus I would go in there once a day to add negative keywords. Anything that doesn't look like a buying search at the beginning, I'd be negating out.
Okay.
And that will get it on track. That's as far as the targeting goes. As far as the ad goes, for now, this is fine. I would work on making sure the traffic stream is right, and then because your click-through rate, just work on the targeting at first. And the website, again, not the best landing page to send them to. We could optimize that, but it should be good enough that if you just get the targeting right and the tracking set up right, it should start working at a basic level for you.
Yeah.
And then, or at the very least, do that first, and we can talk next week about the rest of it.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah, because you don't want to go to the back end before the front end stuff is fixed.
Well, and it's just enough. It's already a big undertaking to do all that. But anyway, that's what I would say for now on the search campaign.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for me before we kind of wrap this up for this week?
No, I didn't. So I'm gonna just do everything you recommended, and I'll be back on next week.
And this is, of course, recorded on the channel. So if you need to rewatch it, you can always go back to what I was saying there and hear it all again. But yeah, I mean, it looks like you have a firm base, and I can tell from what you're doing that you have the passion to make this work, and the motivation and the marketing IQ here to make this work. Even though you don't have the experience, we'll bridge that gap for you.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you, Corey. Thank you for your time.
Okay, yeah. Well, thanks also for coming, Joel. There you go. There you have it, guys. We're gonna wrap it up with just that, and we're gonna wrap this up in general. So hopefully you guys learned something here. The main takeaway that you can have from everything we talked about here is really down to the details. When you try to make money from pay-per-click advertising, ideally it would be nice to just do the basics and make money. That I've been doing work. I've worked with hundreds of different companies, and the amount of times that we get to just do the basic efforts and in a month that it's already effective and it's profitable already is less than 5%. Markets where it's non-competitive, that's basically where we get that. So if you're the only one in the market, like let's say you were in Egypt and there was no other auto parts sellers there at all, and you threw something up, we don't need to get fancy because the consumer doesn't have any options. Whereas like with Joel, he's in San Diego, which is a beautiful place everybody wants to live. And then on top of it, Tree Services, which doesn't have a particularly high barrier to entry, no offense to him. At the same time, we can't expect that we don't look at the details closely because those details are where the results are. The results, you say it with me, the results are in the details. So, and we want it this way because if every Tom, Dick, and Harry could do it, there would be no opportunity. So the details are where the money is as a result. And if we just work on it long enough and ask ourselves, where's the next bottleneck? Where's the next bottleneck? Where's the next bottleneck? And just keep ironing them out, eventually you're going to get to the other side of profitability. Now, a lot of people can't afford to wait that long and waste money and burn money long enough to get there. And that's a separate thing, of which if you're in that position, what I always suggest is pick a market where you can win quickly and then start the adds up in a market that's more competitive later on. That's too big for your britches currently. But it doesn't matter, though, what market it is. It's the same exact process every time. The more competitive the market, because the more money that's in the market and the lower the barrier to entry, the more effort it's going to take, hoops, if you will, that you need to jump through in terms of ironing out what the next bottleneck is before you get to profitability. And realistically, that's all my job is at my firm, is looking at the full funnel. What's the biggest bottleneck at the moment? Figure out what that is, how to neutralize it, and then something else is the biggest bottleneck. And then you work on that. I mean, growing your business in general is the same exact way if you think about it, because there's always a bottleneck, whether that's staff, whether that's you might have payment issues. Who knows what it is? You got to identify that and then smooth that bottleneck out. And then there's another bottleneck, and you just keep doing this until it works. And most people fail in PPC because they don't look at the details and they don't go through this process. And stuff is not obvious when you initially need to set up a campaign for the first time. You're never going to just do everything and then, that's all I needed to do, or very rarely, unless you have low competition, like I was saying. So the winners are simply decided by who's willing to put the work and effort in to go through and eliminate bottlenecks in succession in order to get the most profitable funnel in their market, because all the money goes nowadays to the person who has the most effective funnel, the most efficient funnel, because the ad network rewards it. They're going to try to send all the traffic to you because you're helping the users out more than them, and you make all the money. So, and I've said it many times, if you're not in the top 10 or 20% of funnels in your niche market, you're wasting your time, because why are they going to bother promoting your stuff to their users when they could promote somebody else's stuff who has a better pleasing model to monetize those users and make their product loyalty go up as a result, so they'll come back and use it again. They're going to Nowadays, it's like Tinder on steroids. The people at the top get all the action. Everybody else gets nothing, practically speaking. Or you're just like a pay pig. Pay the app. Oh, you'll eventually win. No, you're not going to win because you didn't put the effort in to actually put a funnel together right. Money alone is not going to fix this. Yes, you can use money to hire someone like me to fix it for you. At the end of the day, somebody's going to have to figure out what's this funnel going to need to be in order to have it be better than my competition. So we have higher click-through rates, higher conversion rates. And if you won't do it, somebody else will, and they'll make all the money. So do you have what it takes to have the grit to go through and keep at it until you've got the funnel you need, or do you not? That decides the winners from the losers. That all said, as I mentioned during this live stream, I have a click fraud software, fraudbouncer.com. We're just getting ready to release this to the public on a paid basis. For now, it's still free, and it eliminates, the average campaign, whether you're talking about Google, Facebook, whatever, has 10 to 90% of just pure fraud in today's environment with all the AI systems that are out there, bots, agents, especially, but also competitors doing this very often now. I highly encourage you to try it and see what percentage of your traffic is fraudulent, because you can do that for free and you can do that without blocking anything. And then just see how much you're getting screwed by the ad networks not blocking this out, because even though they can block it out, they don't want to block all of it out because they're benefiting from it. So highly encourage you to check that out. Thank you all guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.